What you are looking at is engaged elegance. This is the 2022 840i Grand Coupe from BMW. Described as the perfect symmetry of space and sportiness. You can carry along your family, your friends, or both in the ultimate driving experience. The Grand Coupe model is longer, taller, and wider than the original 8 Series model and provides a 3-liter BMW twin-turbo 6-cylinder engine with intelligent all-wheel drive. The 335 horses hidden behind the iconic kidney grille lets you go from 0 to 65 in 4.9 seconds. Plus, in 2022, the 840i Grand Coupe comes standard with the M Sport package, with an aerodynamic kit, M Sport brakes, and more. Looking for a head-turner? Yeah, this one does the trick. Today I'm driving over in this state-of-the-art car to the equally state-of-the-art LSU Gymnastics Training Center to pick up high-flying LSU gym head coach Jay Clark. Now, I'm told he loves cars and he loves music, so this ought to be a fun ride. Time to go cruising with coaches.
What's up, Coach?
You here for me?
I'm here for you.
This may be the ultimate of the ultimate driving machines.
Well, I wanted to make sure we wouldn't stand out while we were cruising around town.
Look at this bad boy.
It's pretty nice.
It's real nice.
What's your music pleasure? Where do we go? Where do we go? I'm on Ozzy's Boneyard.
Yeah,
where I typically...
Ozzy's Boneyard's not a bad choice.
Okay, all
right. I kind of dig it.
Go cruising with coaches. How about that?
Yeah. No, I mix my music up. I go everything from classic rock to classical to country. So it just depends on the mood.
Yeah, I always tell people I look like I've got multiple people in my head when you look at my music collection. I guess like some people who, they like albums, which I do have some albums. I grew up in a radio station, so I actually have some, but just can't get rid of the actual piece.
Well, vinyl's coming back, man.
Yeah.
I've held on to a bunch of mine over the years, and I've still got a strobe turntable, direct drive turntable that every now and then I'll break out some old REM from the early 80s when I was growing up listening to them. But
that's right, Georgia band, huh?
Yeah.
Right there in Athens, a classic city.
And we used to see those guys cheap once a month back in the day. And there was an old place called Buckhead Beach that we used to go to when we were in high school.
So let me ask you, I guess there's no off season. That's one of the things I've learned for a while, but you come off an incredible run at 21, know you're proud of the team.
Yeah.
Is this, though, any window of time to just kind of relax and re-energize?
I think we're giving them a little more this year, just given the additional stressors that were part of what we did all year long. We asked these kids to shut it down in terms of social life and normalcy in the way that they live a collegiate life. And that, when we recruit kids, we want them to come here and experience a full collegiate experience. And given that those circumstances were there, I've just kind of let it shut down for a little bit. We'll get back going again with conditioning and that stuff once summer school starts. But we've shut it down since nationals and let them go home and let them enjoy each other and socialize a little bit, tell them, always with the cautions that they still need to have, but probably more so this year we have shut it down a little bit. It's not necessarily a break for us. We just went to got back from a 3-day planning retreat and have already mapped out everything for next year, right down to apparel, promotional ideas, when our inter squads are on the calendar, looking at our marketing calendar and where we want to be in the community in the fall, and places that we can go and try to get our fans back into the PMAC and starting in January. It's about getting everybody comfortable and wanting to get off their couch and from behind the TV and get back in there and give us that amazing 12,000 person advantage that we have when we're at home. So a lot of our mindset right now is looking at ways to rev up and enthuse our crowd and get them back in there.
Everybody when I got here said you got to take in LSU Gym at the Maravich Center. So I think we went to the opening meet that first year, my wife and kids, and I walked away from it and people that I knew from growing up in Kentucky and living in South Carolina and also in Georgia, they all said, we hear it's big there. And I said, guys, it's like high level athleticism meets the WWE.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
that's what you want.
It is fantastic.
That's a perfect description. That's what we want. We want an intro and a show that is worthy of Vegas, but we also want to highlight the unbelievable superhuman athleticism of what we believe are the best athletes in the world. They make things look easy that are superhuman. And so, you know, gymnastics is one of those things. It's like every guy that I've ever met says that he never thought he would go to a gymnastics meet, but when he goes, whether it's with his wife or his girlfriend or just a bunch of people just to check it out, once they go, they come back and they're amazed by it. The pace is good. You can be in and out in 2 hours. The cost is relatively low, and it's just it's a great environment.
When you're coaching and teaching these high level, as you say, maybe the most athletic individuals on the planet to do what they do, how do you, because I hope I'm not stepping out on a limb here, but are you the type that's going to get up there and do the flips and the jumps? Like I was just wondering, like, how do you
see me walk out here to this car? I mean, come on, brother.
But how do you trans? I've always wondered about that. How do you, like, okay, that wasn't right, let's do it again and let's do it like this. Like, how do you do that?
Well, gymnastics is a sport that is rooted in physics applied to the body, and if you can understand that, if you were any kind of athlete at all, you can learn our sport, and there are techniques for teaching that don't necessarily involve, you know, demonstrating. And I would say that's probably consistent in most sports. I doubt, you know, Coach O is doing a 7-step drop and showing the quarterback how to throw it anymore either. So it's a different sport, but at the same time, you know, we don't need to get into demonstrating and those kinds of things, and a lot of gymnasts, former gymnasts, are great coaches, but a lot of them are not, and it just depends on, you know, their understanding and delivery of how to deal with people and getting people to understand. Some people who things came very easy for have a difficult time understanding when it doesn't come easy for somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest challenge we have as coaches is meeting everybody where they are, particularly at the collegiate level, because we recruit from all over the country, different backgrounds, different training backgrounds, everything, and try to meet them where they are as an individual and not get hung up on doing it one way or another, because by the time we get them, there's certain habits that are there, and trying to break those is like beating your head against a wall. Man,
I tell you what, it is absolutely amazing to watch what those student athletes do, and again, not only when they have all the bing and the bang and everything going on in the Maravich Center, but just watching them in quiet. Like, I've been over to your all's facility a couple of times when there's practice, and there's not a lot. I mean, sometimes there's noise, but it's quiet. But it's still just downright amazing to see what they do.
Well, we're trying to, and you know, part of our efforts to make sure that the fans re-engage is, you know, we're gonna let our practices be open to the public, and let people come in and sit in that balcony and watch what we're doing. I think our kids do better when they're performing. They're performers by nature, and they when they realize they're being watched by somebody other than coaches, they tend to raise their level for some reason. So getting our fans re-engaged and creating an environment in our gym is something that we work hard on trying to do.
All right, I know you said you guys are already hard at work, been planning. You got 2022 already right there in focus. But for you, like, if Jay gets whatever time it is, week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it happens to be, like, where would we find you if you had your druthers and it was your choice? Where would you be?
The same place I'm at every year. I will be in Destin, Florida, on Destin Point, sitting on the beach. That's where we go. It's the only place my kids have ever gone on vacation. They feel like it's their second home, and it's where my wife and I hope to one day land there.
That wouldn't be bad at all.
Be there permanently. You know, everybody talks about other places to go and wanting to see and do other things. I just don't see them. I'm a kind of guy that once I figure out what I want and what I like, I usually don't deviate for that, and I don't try to one-up it or figure out something that might be better. I really enjoy that area over there in the Panhandle. The beaches are some of the best in the world. I don't care whether you go to Hawaii or anywhere else. And that's where you find me, buddy. Now, I will say a close second, which is completely opposite, is up in the Highlands, North Carolina area.
See, that's the issue that my wife and I have, because I've always been a coastal guy. I like to be on the beach, and she likes the beach too.
Yeah.
But occasionally she'll say, you know, it'd be nice to head. Like when we were in Georgia, we would go to the Highlands, which was a nice escape. It didn't take long to get there, and boy, you can really feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere. And I grew up in a place where in the middle of nowhere, so I'm comfortable there. But it is nice occasionally to get some elevation and some quiet.
It is. We spent a lot of time up there in the fall when the leaves were changing, and that's my time of year there. And I wouldn't want to be there year round. I just feel like you run out of things to do, and so I like being on the water where I can just relax if I want to, or I can get in a boat or get on a jet ski or go diving, or there's any number of things that we can do. Hiking and waterfalls, I can do that for a little while, but I'm not much of a hunter. I hadn't done that much in my life. I like to fish, and being down here on the water is a whole lot more conducive to that. So for me, the overall best package is to be over there on the coast.
I know you grew up in Roswell, Georgia.
Yeah, sure did.
And you know, when I moved here, you know, I was in Savannah, the Savannah area, so you know, it's not quite the traffic, although because of the small streets and the old town feel, traffic can be a problem. But when I got to Baton Rouge, everybody said, hey man, you're gonna hate the traffic because it's like Atlanta. And I'm like, ooh, is it like Atlanta in your opinion? Because I know it's rough sometimes, but
it's not like Atlanta. But when I was growing up, Roswell was a little country town. There was not much to it. We had Dr. Staples drugstore and a burger chef, and there just wasn't much to do or see or anything like that. And you could drive up and down 400 between 285 and Holcomb Bridge Road and not see another car when they first opened it up. And over the years, that's obviously changed. The thing about Atlanta is perpetual rush hour now, versus Baton Rouge has a heavy traffic window that it can get really, really bad for a couple hours a day. But I have not experienced anything like the log jams that are up there, and don't want to experience that.
Well, that's how I can keep everything in perspective. You know, when I'm just about to rip the steering wheel out of the dash, I realize that there are places that are worse.
Way worse.
So when I was telling people I was going to take you for a ride, they all said, well, you know, he's a car guy. And I'm like, yeah, I noticed he's a car guy. You gotta like driving though. Like if you're a car guy, you gotta like driving.
I do. I like driving everywhere I go. Dee Dee used to give me all kinds of fits because certain places she would fly to for recruiting, I just say, you know what, I'm gonna rent a car and drive. Because number one, I can get a lot of things done. I find it stimulating to my mind. I can think and process and return phone calls and all those things, and I really enjoy it. And I'm a little bit of a split personality when it comes to cars. Like I like older cars for the most part. I've got a 07 F-150, and then I've got a little convertible 1987 Mercedes. So I don't. There are days when I'm wearing Ray-Bans, and there's days when I'm wearing my Costas and my boots. So I'm a little bit of a schizophrenic when it comes to my identity and my vehicle.
A little bit of country, a little bit of rock and roll.
But I'll tell you what, this sucker right here.
Yeah.
This is about as good as it gets.
Well, I was going to tell you, the thing about this is, you know, you move your finger. I figured this out. If you move your finger, I can turn, without touching the screen, I'm turning the volume up. I can turn it back down. And I don't know if you noticed it or not, but what I love about this vehicle, it's got the air-conditioned, like ventilated seats.
I felt that. I was like, man, I was like, am I sitting on a bag of ice or what's going on?
Which would really work out well come, you know, June, July, and August, and typically in May. But I'm a car guy, and I like to drive because I think a lot, like you said, it's kind of therapeutic. It gives me a chance to sometimes relive the day or events that we got going on, what's going to happen next week. Like I'm not a super organized guy, because I know coaches are, but I have to admit I'm not. But it does give me a chance to kind of rewind and you know, just enjoy. Like I love traveling. With the kids and the family, but I got no problem at all jumping in the car by myself and driving 8-10 hours.
You and me both. I am 100% comfortable doing it.
But I gotta have, you know, and then I'm all over the dial picking songs and moving.
I do that too, and this car's so smooth. I might be afraid I'd go to sleep.
I hate to sound like old man, but the reason I wanted to bring up you liking cars and on top of that liking driving was I was thinking the other day, you got these great cars like the one we're riding in now. And then you got the cars, and everybody's talking about how great it's going to be when you got driverless cars. And we've all seen the stories of some of those that, you know, will drive by themselves, can drive by themselves. I got to be honest with you. I don't ever want to. I want to drive.
I don't either.
I mean, and it's not just a safety thing for me. It's just I enjoy driving. I like being behind the wheel.
I do too.
I like, well, I'm by the state capitol. I was going to goose it, but I mean, I like the feel of the engine and the smoothness of a ride.
I don't ever want to feel like I'm 100% beholden to a machine to take care of our safety. So I'm a little, maybe that's control freak. I don't know what it is, but a car like this BMW is pretty amazing.
Yeah, see what I like about it.
They need to switch this up. They need to let the coaches drive these things. You getting to drive all these, you getting to drive these fine vehicles from BMW, and we're sitting here. I don't get to experience that. I'm gonna have to go talk to Brian Harris about this.
I've been waiting for the first coach who's going to come up to me and go, "Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah,
you're in the wrong
you're
seat."
in the shotgun seat. Yeah,
Man, I tell you, being here, we're here by the state capitol, and again, having not grown up here, didn't go to school here, but my wife and I both, and our kids have just fallen in love with Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
For you, what is it? If somebody says to you, "Hey man, what do you love about Baton Rouge?" What are like the first couple of things that come to mind?
the people and the culture to me, it was different. I'm from the South, and so being from the South, you think you know what Southern culture is all about. But Louisiana is its own deal. It's its own version of all the great things that you know about the South, all the things about being hospitable and family oriented and centered around food and celebration of life and life's milestones. It's on steroids here, and it's an amazing group of people that love their state. They take a lot of pride in the culture that they have here, and they have treated us since the day we got here like royalty, and in a way that we were never treated before. And that's not just about LSU. That's just about the state of Louisiana in general and the people that inhabit this place. It's incredibly unique topographically. It's, you've got the wetlands, and we're right here on the Mississippi River, and there's so many great things to see and do. But I think for me, it's about the culture and the people. And there's places everywhere you go in the world, people talk about it's family, and so many times that's a catchphrase. But I can tell you that our experience here has been that it truly is about family. And whether I'm pulling into my neighborhood and everybody's standing out in the driveway and got a cold beer in their hand and they're wanting to offer you one, and you gotta rein that stuff in. But it's a daily occurrence, and there's always some reason to get together and fellowship and be with people, and that's what I enjoy most about it. It only does it for the driver, I bet.
I don't know. It did it a while ago, I think. See, there's the little, it says that it's picking it up. It's
oh, there it goes.
I guess you got to keep it going. Maybe I'm doing it too fast, like more.
Not doing it for me, but I'm not making a very good circle either.
Again, I hate to be old school, but this one works.
Yeah, that one works, right.
So
sometimes you can get too fancy.
One of the things I found interesting that you said, you were like, hey, when you come to LSU and you join the coaching staff and this program, that DD Bro built, you got to bring energy every day, every minute.
Absolutely.
Like there's no turning it on and turning it off. Mm-hmm. So that's the way she is. Like,
right. Yeah, that's her default setting.
When I see her in the parking lot leaving work, sometimes she's like, "Are you fired up? You happy today?"
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't know that I got the energy to match her.
No, that's true. But nobody does, to be honest with you. Yeah.
But your style, like you, everybody I know that knows you, hanging out with you, meeting you several times, I'm like, you know what? Jay is one cool customer. I know you're a competitor. I mean, that's without question based on your success. But how do you? What is your style to bring the energy every minute, every day?
Well, I think, one of the things I knew going into this is that if I was going to do this, I've got to be authentic to me, and I can't be different with our kids than I was previously, just because Dee Dee's persona was so big and so obvious to everyone publicly. I think in practice and in competitions, the kids would tell you that there's a lot of intensity and a lot of that same type of energy. But I tend to be a little more reserved in the big moments. You don't see me quite as animated. You don't see me, and I don't know why that is. It's just it's a personality trait of mine, whereas I tend to be a little more drawn down. I don't want to project undue energy on them and have it be something that affects them the wrong way. So I'm just a little bit different. You know, Dee Dee was so much the embodiment of Louisiana and the people of Louisiana and the pride that they feel in this state and in this institution. And that's something that I've learned and that I'm still growing in. And you know, not having been here 43 years, it's something that's still, you know, growing with me. But the one thing I know is that I've got to be authentically myself, or I can't be successful. And if I try to emulate Dee Dee in terms of her personality, I'll fail miserably, because she is one of a kind, and we all are at some degree. And so you know, that's been something that I've had to remind myself of. I don't know, I think the kids would tell you there's plenty of energy when you come to our training session. You're going to hear it, you're going to feel it, you're going to see me be demonstrative. I love to have a good time when we're training. I love there to be a high degree of discipline, a high degree of enthusiasm, but I like to have fun when we're doing it. And you know, playing the music, and we do things like I'll tell them I can't listen to that junk they listen to very often. So we have Music Appreciation Day in the gym where I'll roll it back to the 70s and make them listen to Led Zeppelin or something for a little while. And you know, but we have a good time with it. And it's they all roll their eyes when I tell them at the beginning of practice, today's Music Appreciation Day. So it's you know, it's just there's differences for sure. But I think the thing that Dee Dee and I both have in common is a competitive drive, a desire to win, a desire to look for new ways to be more effective and achieve excellence in every area that I want to be number one in attendance. I want to be number one in our marketing abilities. I want to be number one in our social media endeavors and the agendas and the campaigns that we put together there. We are number one in terms of our training facility. I want to be number one in the way we recruit, and at the end of the day, I want to be number one in every single meet that we find ourselves in with the best teams in the country. And that's the way we're approaching everything philosophically, right down to how we schedule our home meets. If you look at our home schedule this year, we've got our out of conference schedule. Conference schedule is a meat grinder by itself.
Right.
But we're bringing Utah in here, who was in the Final Four this year. We're bringing Cal Berkeley, who was in the semifinals this year, and we feel like we have an obligation to our fan base to provide those great experiences top to bottom. There's no snoozers on our schedule whatsoever, and I like that philosophically. It's risky because potentially we could lose some of those meets in front of our home crowd, but at the same time, we're going to provide them with an exciting experience. And if we go through those kinds of situations, we're going to get stronger as the season goes along, having been battle tested by the time we get to postseason. So philosophically, we're going to put ourselves in the highest level of competition we possibly can all the time. I don't believe in putting cupcakes on our schedule if we can help it.
I know that you guys as coaches, again, very, very detailed, as we touched on, and you probably set goals for the off season, and you set goals by something that needs to be done, regardless if it's training or, like you say, social media plans, promotions.
Right.
There's a benchmark, say in August, then there's a benchmark come November, those type of things.
Absolutely.
Are you a coach that looks 5 years down the road in big picture?
Sure.
10 years down the road?
I do.
What do you want to see LSU gymnastics like in, I don't know, 2030?
I think by nature I'm kind of what people would call a landscape thinker. I think big picture, and because of that, sometimes the 5 minutes in front of my face, I've got to make sure that I don't lose the details on it. But as far as what are overarching goals that are, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line, and I don't have a set timetable on them, but we want to be the absolute most successful collegiate gymnastics program in the country, and that is all encompassing. That's not solely defined by any one of those categories that I went through. It will be defined by our achievement in every one of those categories that we lay out. And we put out yearly goals. We know what our training plan looks like, and we schedule those things. We also have done things on a 3 to 5 year deal when we wanted growth in our season ticket holders. We knew that when I got here 9 years ago, we we had about 500 season ticket holders, and we wanted to see that get to 1,500. Then we wanted to see it go to 3,000. Then I felt like we could double that up and go to 6, and in 2019 we were at 7. So we do look at the landscape and put, you know, tangible things there in every part of our program. I think for us, making sure that we stay on top of recruiting is going to be the key, and that's true for every program. I mean, it is the absolute lifeblood, and it is 80% of our success will be determined by how we recruit. So we're revamping a lot of those things, and as I'm now moved into a different role, I've got to depend on other people to do some of the things that I've done virtually my whole career, and I've got to be able to delegate those things and pass those off. So the answer is yes. We do look at 5-year plans on a lot of the things that we do, you know, I don't know from a detail perspective what more there is. I mean, I could take a deeper dive with that, but it probably gets a little boring for most people when they hear it.
You know, you mentioned the state-of-the-art facility, second to none in the country, which is amazing, and it's got to be one of those places, because I've had friends who come into town and they always want to, you know, see, you know, certain parts of campus and want to see Tiger Stadium, and I can't tell you, I can't count them, the number of people who have said, okay, I want to see Tiger Stadium, I want to see Mike the Tiger, I've heard about the box, and where is this gymnastics facility that is Olympic grade level, and plus it's really a beautiful building, inside and out.
Well, and that's a credit to Dee Dee. You know, the exterior of the building, she insisted that it be consistent with the rest of campus. She didn't want something that, you know, stood out from a perspective that it was different. She wanted something that had the archways, that had the brick colors, and kept that sort of Italian Renaissance look to everything. So that facility is it's the light that draws the flies for us. It is the one thing that piques an interest before we get them on campus to that kid who's from Northern California or in the Northeast or whatever, who never really thought they would consider going to the Deep South because they have other options that are very good in the area of the country that they're from. You know, it's the thing that we can push out there. You got to come see this place. And if I can get them on this campus, and if I can get them introduced to the culture and the way this campus looks, and show them what we're all about philosophically, and that they're going to be part of a program that is invested in one another, and our kids care about each other, and they want to be part of that culture and trying to win that first championship, we've got about an 80% shot of getting anybody that walks on this campus. And I get excited when I talk about it, because I think the future is incredibly bright, and we've just got to make sure that we do our part to continue to attract the kind of student athletes that are going to fit our program, our culture, and our drive to get over the hump and win this thing.
Isn't it great to be at LSU, where you got these state-of-the-art facilities, beautiful campus, and you have a population that couldn't be more hospitable? I mean, you come down here and get involved with what's going on, and people greet you, and people want to offer you food and something to drink.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no place like it, which is why I think people all over the country love this state. And there's kind of, I know Scott Wilbur talked about it in his press conference, there's kind of a mystique that everybody else has about Louisiana, and that's got to be a secret weapon for it.
There's a curiosity about it because they hear about it, but you don't know what it's about until you get down here and experience it. I will tell you this, I've tailgated at every campus in this conference with the exception of one, and that's at Missouri. I love cooking, I love barbecue, I love the festivities that surround athletic events. Having come to LSU and experienced what goes on here on a Saturday afternoon, there's nothing like it in the world. It's like a national holiday meets college football, and it's a celebration like no other. And as you mentioned, the hospitality and the inclusion of the LSU fan base for everything. Their enthusiasm for this place is wild. It's insanely fevered pitched all the time. That comes with a great deal of responsibility, because if you're not doing well, they're going to let you hear about it. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I want us to embrace that. Expectation is a privilege, and that's what we talk to our teams about. That's what we expect of ourselves, and there's absolutely no expectation that our fan base can have that we don't have for ourselves.
Well, the last thing I got for you, is it possible for Chris to get an invite to the beautiful patio? Because I gotta imagine, is that a pretty happening spot on game day?
It's an exclusive group, so you're asking a lot there. I mean, you are asking for favors, but we'll definitely get you in there. But my sense is that when we're up there, your schedule's pretty tight.
I could find some time.
Yeah.
Just to visit.
I'll tell you this: the next time we're up there, you will get a personalized invitation to come taste maybe the best beef tenderloin you've ever put in your mouth.
That sounds like a plan. And I'll tell you what, if you do that, next time we do this, I'll let you drive.
Absolutely.
Is that a deal?
That's an even trade, because I'd love to drive this bad boy right here.
Coach,
take care, Chris.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks to Coach Jay Clark for taking a spin, and to BMW for this ultimate driving machine. Take it from me, for the ultimate driving experience, you can't go wrong with either Coach Clark or the BMW 840i Grand Coupe. See you next time when we go cruising with coaches.